Andersen.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Andersen. Today's episode, we're going to be diving into what exactly went wrong on the CLK and why it left me stranded after a short test drive was going so well. Basically, I'm starting to include it in the clip, so my camera was dying and it was just kind of a hasty moment, but I was just driving, going for some loops and just getting used to the car, getting it up to speed, and went to stop at a stop sign, went to turn left, and as soon as I started turning, the car just stopped. Power was still on for the car, engine stopped, all that stuff, but there was no more communication with the ECU. And I knew that because the fans kicked on high right away and the car was just basically stalled. So right away I knew it was something electrical, obviously, but didn't know what it was going to be exactly, obviously, especially with electrical system. It's kind of like my kryptonite, but I did speak it into the universe that I want to get better at it, so maybe this is the universe's way of providing those opportunities. So I'm going to include some clips from the iPhone right now that I did when I initially got it back home, just to kind of narrow it down a bit. So check these out and then I'll catch up with you guys after those. Alright guys, I don't have my camera with me, but I wanted to document this, so I'm on the phone. Got my original C55 ECU here, my cloned ECU that I don't run anymore, and a non-tuned, non-whatever C55 ECU. This is from like a CLS500 or something like that. Maybe earlier, actually, it's the 03. Basically just a 5-liter M113 ECU, Bosch ME 2.8. What we're going to do right now is try to plug it into the CLK because obviously you guys saw, or me talk about in the beginning, is we lost power to the ECU. Now, what I want to do is basically prove that it's not the ECU itself. So if I plug this ECU in and then we get communication with the ECU, then we know that potentially there is a problem with the ECU itself. If we plug it in and same thing, fans kick on high and still no communication, then we know to start looking at our actual wires and our pins. So let's try it. All right guys, stock ECU there and other ECU plugged in. Basically you just have to do this from outside the car, because if I turn to position 2 and we still get fans kicking on, then interesting. Fans are not on. Okay, let me plug in my MB scanner and see if we can get a reading. All right, guys, well, we can definitely read it. If I enter in, there it is. And it's showing no fault codes, which means, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think that that could mean ECU. So, interesting. All right, guys, and stock ECU plugged back in. Go put the battery back on and see if it'll communicate. All right, guys, so fans kicked on, which means no communication to ECU. So Josh just said it could be something else, like 4.31 or something. I got to see what he's talking about, so let me give him a call and I'll explain for you guys. All right, so you guys saw the iPhone clips. Basically, we pinpointed it a little bit by throwing in my spare ECUs. I have a stockpile of 5-liter and 5.4-liter ECUs from all the testing we did back in the day on the C55 with the coating and whatnot. So those came in clutch. What I did, and thank you to Brian, Steak Sausages, the only drift C55 out in the world, so you guys go hit him up and give him some love. But shout out to Brian. He gave me the idea of swapping in one of the other ECUs just because all the plugs are the same, and that way we could see if the car did read and did communicate with the ECU. As you guys saw in those clips, right when I plugged in those ECUs and turned the key, no fan came kicking on, and I was able to read it with the MB scanner. So we knew that it was communicating at that point. So I was like, huh, maybe the ECU is bad. The M113K ECU is bad. But then Josh was like, no, there's another thing that goes on with M113Ks. It's kind of a common thing, not a common thing in normal realms, but the M113Ks are basically, in layman's terms, supplied an extra 12-volt source, and that's why the 5-liter ECU was working, the NA ECU was working, but the K motor ECU wasn't, because what looks like was done, this wire right here is an additional 12 volt supply that's being supplied to this plug over here. And from me testing right now with the voltmeter, try to show you guys, that would also help. My ground fell out. Okay, let's put our ground back, and now we can see we're getting 12 volts, you know, hitting on the fuse, whatnot, 12 volts there. And I picked this wire to get it open a little bit, and we got nothing. The most we were getting was like it was jumping from negative, there it is, jumping from negative to positive. So that should be reading 12 volts. I don't know where it's going in this harness. It's like, you know, that's the main engine harness. So I don't know what they tied it into, but that is what they were trying to do, was get that additional 12 volt. When whoever put this car together did it, they wired it that way. Now, there's a couple ways you can do it. Josh has a much better way where, you know, something with the ECU that you do. But for the time being, what he said I could do is basically jump the plug from number 5 and tap that 12 volt source and then just connect it to that line directly versus like wherever this wire goes, because it's obviously lost power. So that explains exactly why it did what it did. In reality, that wire lost power, whatever it was hooked up to, either, I don't know, it could have come undone, or I don't know. But the wiring on this car, you guys know, was a mess when I first got it. It all worked, but it was a mess. So we did a lot of cleaning up, and I was worried what the heck could I have done, but sounds like it's just a simple issue of that one lost its 12 volt source. So now that I've confirmed that, I'm gonna go ahead and hit up Josh and see if he recommends me just bypassing it to the plug 5, or if he wants me to send the ECU to do his special trick that he can do. So I'll be back with you guys in a bit. So you guys, checking back in with the CLK issue. I got to talk to Josh, and ultimately we decided it's better off I just send the ECU off to him and let him make the permanent fix without me. You know, I could jump the wires and all that, but it's just not, I don't want to call it a ghetto fix, but it's just not the move. So he's gonna fix it properly. He's the only one that knows how to do that. So if you guys are interested in that, or you have a K-swap something, hit him up, because he'll know what to do. I'm not gonna give out that, because that's his own trick of the trade, but yeah, I think we got a solution for this thing. Just gotta wait for the ECU to get back. I'm gonna leave it there for this video, guys. Kind of just wait till the ECU gets back, and then we can hopefully get back on the journey of trying to break this thing in without breaking it or doing anything silly. So knock on wood. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and also, if it's Friday, you guys are seeing this around noon, I might go live either Friday night or Saturday, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, besides that, thank you guys. Love you all. Peace.